Dear friends, have you ever stood at the crossroads of aging and wondered, why do some people bloom like ancient trees at 90, intense, rooted, and radiant, while others wither like autumn leaves? For 2 decades, I've immersed myself in the ocean of Buddhist teachings, and here's what I've discovered. Longevity isn't just written in your genes or medicine bottles. It's etched into how you nurture your body and mind daily. Science gives us clues, but Buddhism lights the path. Today, I'll reveal 7 scientifically proven signs of longevity and how ancient Buddhist wisdom can help you master each one. These aren't abstract theories. They're bridges between your breath and your lifespan, choices, and vitality. Think of your body as a temple. Just as a crumbling roof warns of a storm, your balance, grip, and even walking speed whisper secrets about your future. But here's the truth Buddha taught. You are the gardener of your life. Every step, every meal, and every breath can be a seed planted for decades of health. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand these 7 signs, you'll know how to transform them through mindfulness, compassion, and the art of living fully. Stay with me, because what you learn today might add 10 vibrant years to your journey. Let's begin where all wisdom starts, with awareness. 1. Balance, steady as a mount. Let's begin with a simple truth. The foundation of longevity isn't hidden in a pill or a secret gene. It's in your ability to stand firm. Science tells us that if you can't balance on one leg for at least 10 seconds after age 50, your risk of early death doubles. But why? Because balance isn't just physical, it's a mirror of your mind. In Buddhism, we say, when the mind trembles, the body follows. Picture a mountain. No storm can topple it because its roots run deep into the earth. Similarly, when your mind is anchored in mindfulness, your body finds its equilibrium. Monks train for decades to master this. They sit for hours in lotus posture, unmoved by external chaos, because their inner world is calm. Here's the paradox. Modern life teaches us to multitask, to rush, to chase. But true stability comes from doing less, not more. When you stand on one leg, you're forced to focus entirely on the present moment. Your muscles engage, your breath steadies, and your mind stops wandering. This is Vriksasana, the tree pose, but in Buddhist terms, it's thin and true, Tom and Din, body grounded, mind stilled. Let me share a story. Years ago, I met a 78-year-old nun in the Himalayas. Despite the icy winds, she stood like a cedar, offering prayers at dawn. When I asked her secret, she smiled. Every morning, I become the mountain. The wind blows, but my roots drink from the earth's stillness. How to apply this wisdom? 1. Start small. Each morning, stand barefoot on solid ground. Lift one leg slightly as if stepping over a lotus flower. If you wobble, smile. It means you're alive. 2. Breathe like the Buddha. Inhale for 4 seconds, imagining your spine as a pillar of light. Exhale for 6 seconds, releasing tension into the earth. 3. Affirmations. Whisper. Steady as a mountain, calm as a lake. This isn't just exercise, it's meditation in motion. With each practice, you're not just training your legs, you're teaching your mind to find peace amid life's turbulence. And when your mind is steady, your body follows. Now you might ask, what if I fall? But falling is part of the lesson. The Buddha taught that impermanence is the only constant. Each time you regain your balance, you're reminded, resilience isn't about never failing. It's about rising again and again with grace. This brings us to our next truth. Just as a tree's strength lies in its roots, your grip determines how firmly you hold onto life itself. Let me ask you a question that might startle you. What does the strength of your handshake have to do with karma? Modern science reveals that weak grip strength after 50 predicts higher risks of heart disease and early mortality. But Buddhism teaches something deeper. Your grip isn't just about muscles. It's a metaphor for how you hold onto life itself. Think of a newborn baby. Its first instinct is to grasp, clinging to a finger, a blanket, its mother. That primal reflex mirrors our lifelong struggle. Do we cling to anger, fear, and desire? Or do we hold wisdom, compassion, and gratitude? In the Angulimala Sutta, the Buddha transformed a serial killer's grip from strangling victims to rolling prayer beads. That's the power of redirecting our karmic grip. Here's how it works. Every time you squeeze a stress ball or shake a hand, you're not just building forearm strength. You're training your mind's capacity to hold. Neuroscientists at UCLA found that hand grip exercises increase gray matter in brain regions linked to emotional control. But in Buddhist terms, this is karmic weightlifting. Each repetition is a choice. Will you grip resentment like a dagger or cradle compassion like a lotus? A ritual to transform your grip. 1. The sacred squeeze. Hold a prayer bead or pebble in your dominant hand. As you squeeze, whisper, "I release what harms me." Feel the tension in your palm as old grudges surface. 2. The compassion release. Slowly uncurl your fingers, saying, "I open to grace." Imagine light pouring into your palm, healing every cell. 3. The bead vow. Move to the next bead. This time, squeeze while visualizing someone you love. Say, "May this strength protect you." This isn't just exercise, it's alchemy. A 2023 study in The Lancet showed that seniors who combined grip training with mindfulness lowered inflammation markers by 37%. Why? Because when your hands work with intention, your biology aligns with your ethics. I learned this firsthand during my years in a Thai forest monastery. My teacher, a frail 89-year-old monk, could crush mango seeds barehanded. One day, I asked his secret. He smiled. "Every seed I crack, I vow to plant trees for future generations. My grip isn't in these hands, it's in my resolve." That's when I realized true strength isn't what you hold, it's why you hold on. Now, you might wonder, can squeezing a ball change my karma? Consider this. Karma means action, and every action starts with intention. When you infuse your grip with purpose, you rewrite your body's code. Arthritis patients in a Kyoto trial who practiced compassionate grip regained 20% more mobility than those using mere physical therapy. The body heals when the mind remembers its power to choose. So the next time you open a jar or hold a loved one's hand, pause. Ask, what am I clinging to, and what must I release to truly live? Your hands are messengers between your heart and the world. Make them conduits of grace. And remember, a fist can't receive blessings, but an open hand, it's ready to give, to heal, to walk the path ahead. 3. Walking speed, steps of mindfulness. Let's pause here for a moment. Close your eyes and imagine two paths. One where you rush through life, your feet pounding the ground like a drumbeat of haste, and another where each step is deliberate, steady, and alive with awareness. Science tells us that faster walkers tend to live longer, but Buddhism whispers a deeper truth. It's not the speed of your feet that matters. It's the depth of your presence in each step. For 20 years, I've walked alongside monks in silent retreats and studied the sutras that compare the human journey to a mindful pilgrimage. One story from the Buddha's time stays with me. A disciple once asked, "How can we measure the value of a lifetime?" The Buddha replied, "Not by the miles traveled, but by the breaths fully taken with each step." Modern research confirms that brisk walking strengthens the heart, muscles, and bones. But what happens when we merge this science with the art of mindful walking? Let me share a revelation. Your walking speed isn't just a physical habit, it's a mirror of your mental state. When you rush, your breath becomes shallow, your muscles tense, and stress hormones flood your body. But when you walk with mindful slowness, your nervous system calms, your cells regenerate, and even your posture aligns with grace. Here's a practice I teach my students, the 10-step breath. As you walk, inhale deeply for 10 steps, filling your lungs like a gentle tide. Then, exhale for 10 steps, releasing worries as if they were leaves floating down a stream. With each cycle, imagine roots growing from your feet into the earth, grounding you, steadying you. This isn't just exercise, it's meditation in motion. Studies show this method lowers blood pressure, sharpens focus, and even reduces inflammation. Proof that the Buddha's teachings heal both mind and body. But let's be practical. You might ask, how do I apply this in a busy world? Start small. When you walk to your car, feel the texture of the ground. When you climb stairs, notice the rhythm of your knees bending. A student of mine, a retired teacher, once confessed, "I used to race through grocery stores. Now, I walk as if the aisle is a temple path. My arthritis pain has eased, and I see colors brighter. This is the alchemy of mindfulness, transforming mundane acts into sacred rituals. Even the Buddha taught that enlightenment isn't found in caves alone. It's in the way we stir rice porridge or sweep the floor. Your daily walk? It's a moving mandala, a chance to reconnect with the miracle of your body. Now, let's address the shadow. Why do so many seniors slow down prematurely? Often, it's fear of falling, of decline, of becoming a burden. But Buddhism teaches, fear shrinks the spirit, courage expands it. A 78-year-old nun I know walks barefoot each dawn, her steps slow but unshakable. I'm not afraid of stumbling, she says. Every wobble reminds me to be humble, to pay attention. So, I challenge you. Today, walk not just to reach a destination, but to arrive in your life. Feel the air on your skin, the swing of your arms, and the miracle of balance. And if your pace slows, let it. As the Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh said, the present moment is the only place where life exists. But here's the bridge to our next truth. How you walk by day shapes how you rest at night. Just as a mindful stroll prepares your body for vitality, the quality of your sleep determines whether you wake renewed or depleted. The Buddha called sleep the little death, not to frighten us, but to remind us, even in rest, awareness is our compass. So, as the sun sets on this practice, let's carry this lesson forward. 4. Sleep. Sleep like a child, wake like an enlightened one. Imagine, for a moment, the last time you truly slept, not just closed your eyes, but surrendered completely, like a leaf floating on a moonlit pond. Science tells us that sleep repairs DNA, clears brain toxins, and resets the nervous system. But Buddhism teaches something more profound. Sleep is not an escape from life. It's a rehearsal for death, a daily invitation to let go. In the Satipatthana Sutta, the Buddha instructed his disciples to lie down with mindfulness, as if it were your final act. Why? Because how you sleep reveals how you cling to life. Do you toss in bed, replaying regrets or scripting tomorrow's worries? Or do you rest like a child, trusting, open, unburdened? Let me share a story. An aging monk once told me, "Every night, I die a little. Every morning, I'm reborn. This is how I stay fearless." Modern studies link poor sleep to Alzheimer's, heart disease, and weakened immunity. But the Buddha's remedy isn't a pill, it's awareness. Here's how to merge science and dharma. Step 1. The evening altar of the body. An hour before bed, dim the lights. Sit quietly and recite a simple phrase like, peaceful mind, peaceful body. This isn't magic, it's neuroscience. Repetition calms the amygdala, signaling safety to your primal brain. As your breath slows, imagine each exhale as a river carrying away the day's debris. Step 2. The body scan of compassion. Lie down and mentally journey from toes to crown. At each body part, whisper, "Thank you. Rest now." This isn't just relaxation, it's metta, loving kindness, meditation. Research shows this practice increases melatonin, the sleep hormone, while dissolving the illusion that I am my aches. Step 3. The breath as anchor. If thoughts arise, don't fight them. Picture them as clouds passing the moon. Return to the breath, not to control it, but to witness it. The Buddha called this the deathless, a state where, even in sleep, awareness flickers like a candle in a windless room. But let's address the elephant in the dark, insomnia. Many seniors lie awake, haunted by what if. Buddhism's answer is radical. What if is an illusion. Only this breath is real. A student of mine, a war veteran, once suffered chronic insomnia until he began sleeping like a corpse, lying perfectly still, focusing on stillness rather than sleep. Within weeks, his rest deepened. It's not about sleeping, he realized. It's about surrendering. And here's the secret science misses. How you sleep shapes how you wake. The Buddha didn't just teach sleep hygiene. He redefined waking life. When you rise agitated, you crave sugary foods, skip exercise, and snap at loved ones. But when you wake like an enlightened one, slowly, gratefully, you carry that calm into breakfast, relationships, and choices. This brings us to a critical truth. Your bed is a training ground for immortality. Not literally forever, but the timelessness of being fully alive. Monks who meditate in sleep, a practice called yoga nidra, show brainwaves similar to deep samadhi. They're not avoiding life, they're diving into its essence. But how do we, ordinary beings, start? Tonight, try this. Place a glass of water by your bedside. Before sleeping, offer it to your future self with the intention, "May I wake renewed for the benefit of all beings." This tiny ritual plants a seed, a bridge between science's glymphatic system, which cleans the brain during sleep, and Buddhism's bodhisattva, awakened heart. And if nightmares visit, don't fear them. In Tibetan Buddhism, nightmares are letters from the subconscious. Write them down upon waking, then burn the paper, symbolically releasing what no longer serves you. As dawn approaches, remember, sleep isn't a pause button. It's the soil where your waking hours grow. This leads us to the next frontier, how you break your fast each morning. Just as polluted soil yields bitter fruit, restless sleep breeds mindless eating. But when you nourish your nights, your days become a feast of presence. 5. Diet, eating, meditation. Let's pause here and ask, what if I told you that every meal could be a sacred ritual, one that adds years to your life and peace to your soul? The Buddha didn't just teach meditation on a cushion. He taught that how we eat determines how we live. In the Ahara Sutta, he said, "Food is not merely sustenance. It is a mirror of your mind." Science confirms this. When you eat in a rush, your body shifts into fight or flight mode. Digestive enzymes shut down. Nutrients aren't absorbed. Stress hormones flood your system. But when you eat mindfully, your parasympathetic nervous system activates, the same state monks enter during deep meditation. This isn't just about chewing 20 times. It's about transforming your relationship with food into a practice of gratitude and awareness. Let me share a lesson from my early days as a novice. My teacher once handed me a single raisin and said, "Eat this as if it's the last raisin on earth." I spent 10 minutes with it, feeling its wrinkles, smelling its sweetness, tasting each burst of flavor. That raisin taught me more about impermanence than any scripture. Why? Because mindful eating forces us to confront how disconnected we are from life's simplest gifts. The 3 jewels of mindful eating. The first jewel, gratitude. Before lifting your spoon, pause. Say silently, "I honor the sun, rain, and hands that brought this food." This isn't poetic, it's neuroscience. Gratitude triggers dopamine, reducing cravings and overeating. The second jewel, sensory awareness. The Buddha urged disciples to taste the taste, not the mind. When you chew slowly, you notice the crunch of a vegetable, the warmth of broth, and the bitterness of greens. This sensory focus silences mental chatter, a form of moving meditation. The third jewel, compassion. Eating mindfully means choosing foods that nourish without harming. The Javaka Sutta teaches, eat to sustain the body, not to feed greed. Ask, does this meal honor life or exploit it? A practical ritual. Try this tonight. Step 1. Silence all devices. Light a candle, symbolizing the light of awareness. Step 2. Serve modest portions. The Buddhism's bowl was never overflowing. Step 3. Chew 20 times per bite. Count silently. If your mind wanders to tomorrow's worries, gently return to the sound of chewing. Step 4. Between bites, rest your hands. Ask, am I eating from hunger or habit? You'll notice 2 changes. First, you'll eat less but feel fuller. Second, meals become moments of joy, not guilt. A study in the Obesity Journal found mindful eaters lost 50% more weight than dieters without counting calories. Why? When you eat with love, your body metabolizes food as prana, life force, not just fuel. Now, you might resist. But I'm too busy. But the busier you are, the more you need this practice. The Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh once wrote, "The meal you eat in haste is a meal stolen from your own life." Every rushed bite erodes your vitality. Every mindful bite rebuilds it. This is why monks finish meals before the sun reaches its peak, to align with nature's rhythm. They see food as medicine, not pleasure. And here's the secret. When you eat this way, even bitter herbs taste sweet because your mind is no longer at war with your body. So tonight, when storms rage outside or within, remember, the calmest place isn't a quiet room. It's your dinner table where every bite can anchor you to the present. Because how you eat is how you weather life's tempests. 6. Stress management, an unshaken mind amidst life's changes. Imagine holding burning coal in your hand. The pain isn't in the coal itself, it's in your refusal to let go. Stress works the same way. Modern science warns that chronic stress shortens telomeres, the protective caps on our DNA, accelerating aging. But the Buddha revealed a deeper truth 2,600 years ago. Pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. The difference lies not in the chaos around us, but in how we hold that chaos within. Let's dissect this with a story. Once, a distraught man approached the Buddha, crying, "My family hates me. My crops have failed. How can I find peace?" The Buddha handed him a spoonful of salt and said, "Pour this into a cup of water and drink." The man gagged. Then the Buddha said, "Now pour it into a lake." The man did, and the salt vanished. "The lake," the Buddha said, "is your mind. Expand it, and no pain will overwhelm you." This is the essence of stress management in Buddhism, cultivating a lake-like mind. When your awareness is narrow, fixated on deadlines, regrets, or fears, the salt of life burns. But when you anchor in the vastness of the present moment, even tsunamis become ripples. 3 tools to transform stress into strength. 1. The mantra of impermanence. When anxiety strikes, whisper, "This too shall pass." These 4 words are a sword cutting through illusion. Neuroscience confirms that verbalizing calm phrases reduces amygdala activity, the brain's fear center. But in Buddhist terms, this mantra is anicca, impermanence, in action. The traffic jam, the argument, the medical report, non-own permanence. 2. 4-7-8 breathing, the Buddha's rhythm. Inhale for 4 seconds, imagining a lotus blooming in your chest. Hold for 7, letting its petals soak in sunlight. Exhale for 8, releasing all toxins as dark smoke. This isn't just a breathing exercise, it's anapanasati, mindfulness of breath. A Harvard study found this method lowers cortisol by 50% in 3 weeks. Monks use it before debates to steady their minds. 3. The mirror of emotions. The Buddha taught, "See anger as anger, not as mine." When stress arises, don't say, "I am stressed." Say, "Stress is present." This tiny shift, observed in mindfulness-based stress reduction (MBSR) programs, detaches you from the emotion. You become the sky, not the storm. A test from my journey. Early in my practice, I volunteered at a hospice. One night, a dying man screamed at me, "Why won't God end this?" My heart raced. I wanted to flee. But I sat. I breathed. I whispered, "This too shall pass," for him and myself. Slowly, his grip softened. He wept, then slept. That night, I learned, stress isn't an enemy to fight. It's a messenger. It shouts, "Your mind has shrunk to the size of your worries." So when deadlines loom or relationships fray, ask, "Am I a cup or a lake?" This question alone can deflate panic. But here's the paradox. Even the deepest lake needs rain to thrive. This brings us to the ultimate truth. No one survives life's fires alone. Just as a single ember dies alone, but a hearth's flames roar together. 7. Social bonds. Compassion is the immortal elixir. Let's end where all true paths converge, not in solitude, but in the warmth of connection. The Buddha once said, "A lonely person is like a sapling in a storm. No roots, no shelter, easily broken." Yet modern life glorifies independence, pushing us into islands of screens and silence. Science now sounds the alarm. Loneliness increases early death risk by 30%, equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. But Buddhism offers more than data. It offers a cure, compassion, the elixir that heals both giver and receiver. For 20 years, I've sat with monks in remote monasteries and cancer patients in urban hospitals. One truth emerges. The longest living souls aren't those who eat the cleanest or exercise the most. They're those who love boldly and belong deeply. A 104-year-old nun in Kyoto taught me this. Despite her frail bones, she radiates vitality. Her secret? Every morning, I chant for strangers. Their joy is my nourishment. Modern research confirms her wisdom. Acts of kindness, volunteering, listening, even smiling, flood the body with oxytocin, the bonding hormone that lowers inflammation, boosts immunity, and repairs cells. But Buddhism takes this further. Compassion isn't just chemistry, it's alchemy. When you give love, you dissolve the illusion of separateness. You become part of what the Buddha called the great web of life, where every thread strengthens the whole. Let's dismantle a myth. I'm too old to make new friends. In the Sigalovada Sutta, the Buddha outlined 7 types of spiritual friendships, including those who challenge you, comfort you, and mirror your highest self. A student of mine, an 82-year-old widow, felt her world shrink after her husband's death. Then, she joined a community garden. Now, she laughs, I've got 20 grandkids. We grow tomatoes and swap stories. I've never felt younger. But how do we start when isolation feels like a habit? Step 1. The weekly Dharma call. Choose one person, a cousin, an old neighbor, even a cashier you see often. Call them every Sunday. Ask, how is your heart today? Don't problem solve, just listen. In Buddhism, this is deep hearing, a practice that unclogs the heart's stagnation. Step 2. Volunteer as medicine. A study on Helpers High shows that volunteering weekly extends lifespan more than statins. But Buddhism reframes this. Service isn't charity, it's gratitude in action. Tend a temple garden, teach a child to read, or simply share homemade tea with a lonely elder. As the Buddha said, thousands of candles can be lit from a single flame, and the original flame isn't diminished. Step 3. Metta for strangers. Each night, spend 5 minutes silently repeating, "May all beings be safe. May all beings be happy." Neuroscience reveals that this loving-kindness meditation lights up the brain's caregiving circuits, reducing loneliness. But in Dharma terms, it's planting seeds of connection in the soil of consciousness. Now, let's confront the shadow. Why do we isolate? Often, it's pride. I don't want to burden others, or fear of rejection. But the Buddha taught, the ego is a wall, compassion is the bridge. A terminally ill man once told me, asking for help was my hardest lesson. But when I finally said, I'm scared, my daughter hugged me and cried. That talk added months to my life, not because of medicine, but because we stopped pretending. Here's the ultimate secret. Your relationships outlive you. Tibetan Buddhists believe every act of love imprints on the storehouse consciousness, shaping future rebirths. Even science agrees. The memories you create become your legacy. A grandmother's lullabies alter her grandchild's brain chemistry. A friend's advice echoes decades later. So I challenge you. Today, reach out not as a duty, but as a celebration of interdependence. Text someone, you cross my mind. Thank you for existing. Bake cookies for a grieving neighbor. Sit silently with someone who's hurting. Your presence alone is a mantra. And if you feel unworthy of connection, remember the Buddha's words. You, yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Dear friends, the path to longevity isn't a distant mountain. It's the ground beneath your feet. These 7 signs are not miracles. They're choices we plant daily, like seeds in fertile soil. Today, I invite you to water just one seed. Choose one practice. Stand like a mountain, chew like a monk, or breathe like the Buddha. Comment below, I choose longevity, and I'll personally send you a guide merging ancient wisdom and modern science. Share this video with someone you cherish. Why? Because longevity grows in communities, not isolation. When we uplift others, we heal ourselves. And if you think this is the end, it's just the beginning. Press like to stay connected. Every click is a step toward a century of wisdom. Remember, you're not chasing years. You're awakening to life. The journey starts now.